I just want what's fair, Rachel said, standing in front of the judge like she hadn't rehearsed every word. Fair? I scoffed, my voice dry. You're taking the house, the car, and the kids. How is that fair, Rachel? You can't even keep a stable job, she snapped, not even looking at me. What kind of father are you supposed to be? I clenched my jaw. I love them. That should count for something. She turned to her lawyer. See? Emotion. No structure. No plan. I looked at Emily. She sat beside Rachel, fidgeting with her bracelet. Her eyes met mine for half a second, then dropped. Jake wasn't even in the room. Too young, they said. The judge cleared his throat. Given the circumstances, primary custody will be awarded to the mother. My heart sank. Rachel barely flinched. Thank you, Your Honor. The gavel hit. That was it. That was the moment my world broke. Outside the courtroom, I chased after her. Rachel, please, don't do this. Let me at least talk to them. She didn't stop walking. They're better off with me. You blocked my number. Because you don't listen. You show up at school unannounced. You scare them. Scare them? I laughed, bitter. Jake cried the last time I left. Emily hugged me so tight, I couldn't breathe. She turned sharply. They're kids. They don't know what's good for them. I do. I stared at her. You just want them to hate me. No, she said calmly. I just don't want them to end up like you. That one hit harder than anything. I walked away. What else could I do? Later that night, I called Emily again, straight to voicemail. I tried Jake's tablet, disabled. I sat in my car outside the apartment I was supposed to move out of by next week, and I just stared at the empty dashboard. No house, no family, no future. A message lit up on my phone. From Rachel. Please stop contacting them. Focus on yourself. Focus on myself? She ripped my life out from under me. I texted back, tell them I love them. No reply. Days passed. I drove by their school just to see them from a distance. Emily looked taller. Jake wore that Spider-Man backpack I bought him. For a second, I thought about getting out and waving. I didn't. Instead, I watched as Brandon showed up in a sleek black car. Rachel's just a friend. He opened the door. The kids ran to him. Emily smiled. Jake laughed. I sank in my seat. When did I become the stranger in my own story? Later, I walked into the diner where I used to take them every Friday. Where are the kids today? The waitress asked, pouring me coffee. With their mom? I mumbled. She paused. Everything okay? I nodded, then shook my head. No, not really. She placed the coffee down gently. You look like someone who lost more than a case. I lost my name, I said. They don't call me Dad anymore. I grabbed a box of cereal and turned the corner, and there she was. Rachel. Laughing, her hand rested on his arm. Brandon. The same Brandon she once swore was just a friend. The one she said I was paranoid about. Jake, stay close, she said. Jake? I ducked behind a shelf, my heart thudding in my ears. I peeked again. Jake was holding Brandon's hand. Holding it like it was normal. Like he'd done it 1,000 times. Dad, can I get the cookies too? Jake asked. Dad. He called him Dad. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. Brandon chuckled. Ask your mom, buddy. Rachel smiled. Fine, but only one pack. They walked past me. I stepped back, gripping. The cereal box like it could anchor me. It didn't. I waited until they were gone before stumbling out of the store, leaving my cart behind. My hands shook as I opened the car door. Dad. That word echoed in my head like a scream. I drove without knowing where I was going. My apartment? No. Too quiet. Too cold. I ended up at a bar near the highway. What'll it be? The bartender asked. Something strong. Don't care what. He slid me a glass. I downed it fast. Rough day? I stared at the counter. Ever. Get replaced by someone who was always waiting in the background? He nodded slowly. That's oddly specific. I laughed bitterly. Yeah. So's pain. By the third drink, everything started spinning. I leaned my head on my arms. I pulled out my phone, opened Emily's contact, typed, I saw Jake today. I miss you both. Call me, please. I stared at the message, then hit send. No reply. I checked the time. 2 hours. Still nothing. I sent another. Are you okay? Nothing. I checked Jake's number. Still disconnected. I scrolled through my photos. Emily's school recital. Jake's goofy grin with chocolate all over his face. Our beach trip. I used to be everything to them. Now Brandon gets to buy cookies with Jake while I hide like a ghost. I called Rachel. It rang once. Then voicemail. I called again. Voicemail. I left one message. Just one. You lied to me. About everything. And now he's calling another man dad. I hope you're proud. I hung up and slammed the phone on the bar. The bartender gave me a look. You okay, man? No, but thanks for asking. He nodded. Want me to call you a cab? Sure. Why not? I didn't remember the ride back. Just the silence, the way it wrapped around me like punishment. The next morning, I woke up with a headache and a hollow chest. I checked my phone. Still no replies. Not even a read receipt. I stared at my reflection in the mirror. My beard was growing wild, eyes sunken. I looked like someone Emily and Jake wouldn't even recognize. I picked up the drawing Emily once gave me. Crayon hearts and the words, "Best dad ever." I used to believe that. Now? I wasn't even second best. I was forgotten. Replaced. You're letting me go? I asked, staring at my boss across the desk. I'm sorry, he said. The company's downsizing. We have to make cuts. I've been here 5 years. He didn't look at me. It's not personal. It feels pretty damn personal. He sighed. You'll get 2 weeks severance. 2 weeks. I barely had enough to make it through the month. I packed up my desk in silence. No one said goodbye. Not even the guy I used to eat lunch with. I walked out into the freezing rain and laughed bitterly. Perfect. By the time I got to the garage apartment, I was soaked. The landlord gave me a side-eye as I passed. Back in my room, if you could call it that, I sat on the floor with a cup of instant noodles. No table, no chair, just a mattress and bills. I opened my phone. Emily's birthday. I typed, "Happy birthday, sweetheart. I hope you're smiling today. I miss you so much." I stared at it, then hit send. No reply. No delivered. I called, straight to voicemail. Again. I tried Rachel's number. This number is no longer in service. I dropped the phone onto the mattress. Great. Just great. My stomach growled, but I pushed the noodles away. I stared at the ceiling, the cracked paint, the flickering light bulb. How did I end up here? 2 months ago, I was still fighting for custody, still hopeful. Now, I couldn't even afford a birthday card. The next day, I checked my email. Empty. No interviews, no replies. Just spam and overdue bills. I sat in the dark. Didn't shower, didn't move, didn't care. 3 days passed. I don't even remember them. Then, something small changed everything. I knocked over a box while looking for socks. Paper spilled across the floor. In the mess, I saw it. A crayon drawing. Wrinkled, torn at the edges. It was us. Me, Emily, and Jake. All holding hands under a yellow sun. Best day ever. I love you, Daddy. My throat tightened. I sat down, the picture shaking in my hands. I whispered, what would they think if they saw me like this? No answer. Just silence. I picked up my phone, searched for jobs, anything, pizza delivery, warehouse loader, Dishwashing. I didn't care. I applied to everything. I took a shower, shaved, brushed my teeth, looked in the mirror, still a mess, but alive. I called the pizza place. "You hiring?" The voice on the other end said, "Can you start tonight?" "Yes," I said. "Absolutely, I'll be there." I hung up, looked down at the drawing. "I'm not done," I whispered. "You don't get to erase me." That night, I delivered pizzas in a beat-up car with a broken heater. I got lost 3 times, but every time I handed over a box, I felt something return. Not pride, not yet, but purpose. And that was enough, for now. "Sign here," I said, handing the box over. The man grunted, barely looking at me. Door slammed. I walked back to the van. My back ached, my feet were numb, and it was only 11 p.m. 3 more deliveries, I muttered. Then sleep. Maybe. I didn't complain. At least I was moving. At least I wasn't drinking. During the day, I sat in the back row of a coding boot camp downtown. Everyone else was 10 years younger. "You ever touched JavaScript before?" the instructor asked me. "No," I said. "But I've touched rock bottom." He blinked, then chuckled. "Fair enough." I stayed after class every night. Watched tutorials, failed tests, tried again. 2 months in, a guy leaned over during break. "You actually get this stuff?" "Barely," I said. "But I'm not leaving till I do. Respect." "I'm Tom." "Nick," I replied. "Former pizza." "Aye, current disaster," he laughed. "Hey, disasters make the best founders." I didn't know it yet, but he was right. We started meeting at cafes. Whiteboards, notes, sketches, code. "Wait," Tom said one day. "What if the app automatically synced location data for freelance drivers and optimized fuel cost?" I blinked. That actually makes sense. "See? You bring the hustle, I bring the brains." "I have brains," I protested. Yeah, you're just too tired to use them." We built the prototype in 3 months. I delivered packages at night, coded during the day, and lived off canned beans. When we launched the beta, 5 users downloaded it. Tom clapped anyway. "5's better than 0, I smiled. "We're gonna make it. Or die trying." Didn't die. We grew. A food courier company picked up the app for internal use. Then another. By the end of year 2, we had 4,000 users. I got my first car that wasn't falling apart. Moved into a 1-bedroom apartment with working heat. Tom raised a can of cheap soda. "To the empire. I'll toast when we pay ourselves." I said. A few months later we did. We hired interns, then engineers, then a real office. "You still don't talk to your kids?" Tom asked one night. "No," I said, staring at the floor. "Think they know what you've built?" "I hope one day they find out without me having to say it." "You still miss them?" "Every damn day." He nodded. "Then keep building. Make your name loud enough they can't ignore it." I did. I gave every hour I had. No drinking, no excuses, just drive. I opened my email one morning. Subject line, potential acquisition inquiry. A venture firm wanted to talk. Investors. Press. Real attention. Tom barged into the office. "You see this?" "I saw," I said quietly. He grinned. "We're not invisible anymore." But the only notification I truly wanted never came. No call, no text, no birthday messages from Emily or Jake. I stood on my balcony that night. City, lights buzzing below. "I'm still here," I whispered into the dark. "Still fighting." My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I stared at it, heart pounding. I answered. "Hello? Hi? Is this Nick?" "Yes." Long pause, then a voice I hadn't heard in years. "It's Emily." My phone buzzed while I was reviewing a pitch deck. Unknown number. I almost ignored it until I saw the message. "Dad, it's Emily. Can we talk?" I stared at it, my fingers frozen. I read it again. And again. Then I typed back. "Yes, whenever." "You want another buzz? Tomorrow, 3 p.m., Bluebird Cafe, just us. I barely slept that night. At 2:55, I was already sitting by the window, fidgeting with my coffee. The door opened, and there she was. She looked older, more like Rachel than I expected, but softer, kinder. "Hi," she said, standing awkwardly. "Hey," I said, standing too quickly. "You look grown." She smiled faintly. "So do you. Older, I mean." I laughed. "Fair. Have a seat." She sat across from me, gripping the edge of the table. "I didn't know if you'd come," she said. "Emily, I've waited years to hear from you." "I know," she whispered. "And I'm sorry." My throat tightened. "Why now?" She looked down. "I'm getting married." I blinked. "Married?" She nodded. "Next month. His name's Liam. He's amazing." Wow, that's big." She smiled, then looked serious. "That's not why I texted you." I leaned forward. "Then why?" She hesitated. "I thought you didn't care, that you just disappeared." My chest sank. "I tried, Emily. I called, texted. You never answered." "I know," she said, eyes wet. "Brandon, he told us things. That you moved on, that you didn't want us." I gritted my teeth. "He said that?" She nodded. "He'd delete your messages before we could see them. He blocked your number. We thought you gave up." "I never gave up," I said quietly. "Not for 1 second." She wiped her eyes. "I found one of your old voicemails on an old phone. You said you loved us, that you missed us." I cried for an hour. I reached across the table. "You have no idea how much I needed to hear that." She took my hand. "I want you to be part of my life again. I want Jake to see you too." "Jake? How is he?" "Still stubborn, still sweet. He never stopped asking about you." I smiled through the ache. "I missed so much." "I know," she said. "But maybe we can fix that." I swallowed. "I'd like that." She looked nervous again. "There's one more thing." "Anything." She took a deep breath. "Will you walk me down the aisle?" I stared at her, stunned. "I know it's a lot to ask," she said quickly. "But I want my real dad beside me, not the one who played pretend." I blinked back tears. "You still see me as your dad?" "You always were. I just didn't know the truth until now." I stood and walked around the table. She stood too. I hugged her, tighter than I had in years. She didn't let go. "I'll be there," I whispered. "Every step." She pulled back, smiling. "I hoped you'd say that." We sat again, calmer now. "I'm sorry I believed him," she said softly. "You were a kid. He manipulated everyone. I should have tried harder." "You did the best you could," I said. "You came back. That's what matters." She glanced at my phone on the table. "You're doing well?" "I've built something," I said. "Not for revenge, for survival, for you and Jake." She smiled. "You made it." "I'm still making it," I said. "But this helped." "Can I meet someday?" she asked. "You remember his name? You mentioned him once. Said he was your first real partner." "He saved my life," I said. "Kind of like you just did." We sat in silence for a moment, just smiling. Then she said, "Want to see my ring?" "Absolutely." As she held out her hand, I realized something. I hadn't lost everything. Not yet. Not forever. CHP.6 Emily stepped out of the car, eyes wide. "Wait, this is your place?" "Yeah," I said, smiling. "Not bad, right?" She looked around, stunned. "I thought you'd be living in a shack or something." "Gee, thanks." She laughed. "No, I mean, this is beautiful." "I've worked hard," I said. "Come on, let me give you the tour." We walked inside. Her eyes scanned everything, the clean floors, the framed photos, the bookshelves. "You live here alone?" "Just me," I said. Well, me and takeout containers. She raised a brow. You cook? I try. Tonight, we're doing it together. She grinned. Challenge accepted. We headed to the kitchen. Okay, what's the plan, Chef Dad? She teased, tying an apron around her waist. Don't call me that unless you want burnt pasta. Deal, she laughed. Where's the cutting? Board? In that drawer, I'll grab the vegetables. We chopped and stirred like we'd been doing it for years. Music played low in the background. Smells like redemption, she joked. Smells like I remembered how to boil water. She smirked. So, what's it like? Running your own company? Stressful, exhausting, worth it. She stirred the sauce. Do you ever stop? Sometimes I blink. She laughed. Tom helps, right? He's the balance I never had. You'll meet him. As if on cue, the door opened. Yo! Tom's voice echoed. You home? In the kitchen, I called. He walked in, saw Emily, and froze. Is this Emily? I said. Meet Tom. Tom wiped his hands and extended one. It's great to finally meet you. You too, she said warmly. Dad talks about you a lot. Tom grinned. All lies, I swear. We ate at the counter, plates full, laughter louder than the music. You built all this? She asked, looking around. With help, I said. But yeah, brick by brick. You're nothing like what Mom told us. I paused. What did she say? That you gave up. That you never tried. I did give up. Once. For a moment. She nodded slowly. I'm glad you didn't stay there. I looked at her. Me too. After dinner, we walked through the office space. Desks, monitors. This is it's my second home, I said. Want to see the room? She nodded, then stopped. Her phone buzzed. She glanced at it, smiled, and turned to me. Jake saw my story. Story? I posted a picture. He called. I held my breath. What did he say? My voice cracked. He nodded. You're going to need tissues. My phone rang. I stared at the screen. Jake. I picked up, voice shaking. Hey, buddy? Dad? My knees almost gave out. Yeah, it's me. I saw your place. It's awesome. You think so? Can I visit too? I choked back a tear. Anytime, Jake. Anytime. Tom poked his head into my office. You have a visitor. I looked up from my screen. Client? He shifted. No, it's Rachel. I froze. You're sure? She asked for you by name, said it's personal. I sighed. Send her in. A few seconds later, the door creaked open. Rachel stepped in, slower than I remembered. She looked thinner, pale, tired. Hi, Nick. I leaned back in my chair. Wasn't expecting you. I know. I wouldn't have come if it wasn't important. Brandon? I asked, already guessing. She gave a weak laugh. He's gone. Took what was left of our savings, left a note and a blocked number. I didn't say a word. I guess karma's quicker than I thought, she muttered. Still, I stayed quiet. She glanced around the room. This place, it's impressive. You did well. I built it, I said. She nodded. I can see that. Silence hung between us. She folded her hands. I wanted to say I'm sorry, she said. For what exactly? For everything. For not believing in you. For turning the kids against you. For letting him fill their heads with lies. I stared at her. You let him erase me. I know, she said, voice cracking. I thought I was doing what was best for them. But I see now. I was wrong. I leaned forward. You didn't just choose him over me. You made them choose too. I didn't know how bad it got, she whispered, until Emily left, until Jake stopped talking to me. I shook my head. You thought you won back then. I didn't win anything, she said. I lost a good man. I stood, walked around the desk. You lost your family. I just rebuilt mine. Her eyes shimmered. Can we talk, Nick? Really talk? I looked at her. No, she flinched. Please. You made your choices. I'm not interested in rehashing the past, but the kids, Emily and Jake, are old enough to choose now, and they already have. Tears welled up. They don't answer my calls. They answered mine, I said. She looked at the floor. I don't blame them. I stepped aside, motioned to the door. I have a meeting. She hesitated. You really won't talk to me? I stayed silent. She walked slowly toward the exit, heels clicking on the floor like echoes of everything she broke. At the door, she turned. You really loved them, didn't you? With everything I had, she gave me one last look. I'm sorry, Nick. Truly. I said nothing. She left, and I didn't stop her. HP, Emily adjusted her veil and looked up at me. You nervous? I smiled. I'm not the one getting married. She squeezed my arm. Still, big day. For both of us. She took a deep breath. I'm really glad you came back. I never really left, Em. You just couldn't see me. She looked down, then whispered, I see you now. The wedding planner peeked through the doors. You're up. Emily's grip tightened. Ready? I nodded. Always. The music started. The doors opened. Each step we took down that aisle felt like I was walking out of every mistake, every sleepless night, every unanswered message. Jake stood at the altar in a fitted suit, beaming with pride. Best man. My boy. I caught his eyes. He smiled. On the left side, near the back, Rachel sat alone, her hands folded tight in her lap. Her eyes found mine, but I didn't look back. Emily leaned toward me. Ignore her. I already have, I whispered. When we reached the front, I kissed her forehead and handed her hand to Liam, who looked both thrilled and terrified. Take care of her, I said quietly. I will, he promised. I stepped to the side and found my seat beside Tom, who grinned and nudged me. Didn't cry, he whispered. Barely, I said, wiping the corner of my eye. The ceremony was beautiful. Vows, laughter, a few shaky voices. Then came the speeches. Jake stood up first. He looked nervous but cleared his throat and held the mic tight. When we were younger, we thought we lost our dad, he began. We were told stories that made us believe he gave up. Emily looked down, holding Liam's hand tighter. But he didn't give up, Jake continued. He fought silently. He never stopped. We just had to grow up enough to find him again. My throat tightened. I blinked fast. Jake raised his glass. To the strongest man I know, Dad. I couldn't breathe. Everyone clapped. Some stood. Emily wiped her eyes. I sat frozen. Tom leaned over. Stand up. I stood. Nodded once. That was all I could manage. After the ceremony, Emily rushed over. Did you hear him? I heard every word. She hugged me. He meant it. So did I. Every time I said I loved you, she pulled back, smiling. And now the whole world knows it. Jake joined us. You okay, old man? I should be asking you that, I said. That speech? He shrugged. Felt right. I'm proud of you, I said. Of both of you. We stood there for a moment, the three of us, like we were never broken. Rachel passed behind us, slow and quiet. She didn't say anything. Neither did we. Later, as the music played and the guests danced, I stepped out for air. Tom followed. So? I'm good, I said. He smirked. You're more than good. I feel whole. He handed me a drink. To healing, and the long way back. I clinked the glass. To never being truly lost. We sipped in silence. And for the first time in years, silence felt like peace. "Smells like you burnt the eggs again," Emily teased, dropping her bag by the door. "I like them extra crispy," I said, flipping the pan and immediately regretting it. Jake peeked over my shoulder. "That's not crispy. That's tragic." "Why do I invite you two here again?" "Because you love us," Emily said, grabbing plates from the cupboard. Jake leaned against the counter. "And because you finally got your own place that doesn't smell like instant noodles." "Fair." We sat around the small dining table, Emily, Jake, and me, our little Sunday ritual. "I'm thinking about taking that internship," Jake said between bites. My fork froze. "At the company?" He nodded. "Yeah, if you'll have me." I tried to keep my voice steady. "You sure?" "I want to learn," he said. "From you." Emily grinned. "Told you he was serious." "I don't want any special treatment," Jake added. "Make me earn it." I nodded. "Then you're in." He smiled and something in me settled, like a missing piece clicking into place. Emily looked at me, gentle. "You okay?" "I'm good," I said. "Really good." My phone buzzed, a name I hadn't seen in months. Rachel. I let it ring. Emily glanced at the screen. "She keeps calling?" "Every few weeks," Jake asked. "You ever pick up?" I shook my head. "What's left to say?" "Not much," Emily muttered. "I'm not angry anymore," I said, "but I'm not curious either." They both nodded. Emily stood and began clearing plates. Jake helped without being asked. I leaned back and watched them laugh, bump shoulders, argue about who washed and who dried. This was enough. Later, after they left, I stepped out onto the porch. The sky was soft orange, the breeze warm, peaceful. "Mind if I join you?" Sophie asked, stepping outside with 2 mugs. "Please," I said, making room beside me. She handed me a mug. "Chamomile. I'm spoiling you." "You really are." We sat in silence for a moment, sipping. "I like them," she said softly. "My kids?" She nodded. "They look at you like you hung the stars." I smiled. "Took a long time to earn that. I can tell." She rested her head lightly on my shoulder. "Does it still hurt?" "Sometimes, but not in the same way." "I get that." I turned to her. "You never asked about the past. You never offered. Want to know?" She shook her head. "I just want to be part of the future." I looked out at the fading sun. "That's the best answer I've ever heard." She smiled, and we sat there quietly, the day ending in soft light and softer laughter. This wasn't a fairy tale. This was better. It was real. Built from ruin, held together by scars, and still, somehow, beautiful. And as I breathed in the calm, I realized something. Revenge wasn't fire and fury. It was becoming the man they never believed I could be. And I was finally him.